She was at the height of her career, an undeniable blonde bombshell who had taken over Hollywood as one of the sexiest women to ever walk the red carpet. And then, the unimaginable happened. Sharon Stone suffered a stroke when she was just 43, and almost overnight, she lost everything she held dear to her heart. There's nothing that could have compared to the pain of loss and betrayal by the one closest to you, along with having to learn how to walk and talk again. So how did the actress learn to live again? And did she ever find true love? You're watching Rumor Juice. Before we get into this story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that you can be the first to know when we upload new content. Sharon Stone made herself a household name in the scandalous leg-crossing scene of Basic Instinct, and had most of Hollywood on their knees, bowing down not only to her flawless beauty, but her talent as an actress. However, life has not always dealt Stone with very fair cards, and unfortunately, her peak in Hollywood was very short-lived. The actress's stint with bad luck probably started when she was as young as 14. Growing up in Pennsylvania, young Sharon spent a lot of time outdoors. One day, while playing outside, she entangled herself in the washing line. She survived by just an inch of her life, having her neck slashed by the clothesline. And the deadly cut only just missed her jugular by a 1/16 of an inch. You'd think it would stop there, but it gets even worse. One stormy day, young Sharon was at home, filling an iron up with water with her hand resting on the tap. Suddenly, the well outside was struck by lightning. The shock traveled through the well, through the pipes, and struck Sharon. The blow was so bad that she was thrown across the room and hit the refrigerator. The girl was left completely unconscious. Luckily, her mother, who was also there, was able to revive her.
I was always in some sort of unusual circumstance and being prepared to live an unusual circumstantial life because that was my destiny.
It's like, how am I gonna die next time? Probably something super dramatic and nuts. Thankfully, for all the beloved fans of Sharon Stone, she's lived to tell the tale. But unfortunately, her life didn't get any easier after 2 near-death experiences. Despite being one of the hottest women in Hollywood, Stone was unlucky in love. Her first marriage was to producer Michael Greenberg in 1984. The actress suffered a miscarriage at 5 months, and it was then that she was diagnosed with the condition that would make having a baby almost impossible. Sharon was diagnosed with lupus-related rheumatoid factor, an autoimmune condition that made it difficult for her to carry a pregnancy to term. To make things worse, her union with Greenberg was short-lived, and they called it quits after 3 years. With the release of Basic Instinct in 1992, Sharon Stone was one of the most sought-after Hollywood stars. Naturally, we can only imagine the queue of people desperate to get the actress's attention. Everyone knew whoever got Stone's heart was one lucky son of a gun. Sadly, what followed were several failed relationships and even an engagement that ended on a sour note. It was alleged that Stone returned the engagement ring via FedEx. Finally, things seemed to take a brighter turn when Sharon met journalist Phil Bronstein. She knew she wanted to be a mother, and the couple tried to start their own family. Unfortunately, the actress knew this was going to be a challenge, having already suffered from a miscarriage in her previous marriage. She was determined not to let her condition get in the way. But sadly, when Stone and Bronstein tried getting pregnant, she ended up suffering 2 more miscarriages, both at 5 months. The couple had also decided to turn to adoption agencies, knowing that they would need a backup plan if all else failed. When Stone had her second miscarriage with Phil, she had to endure a torturous 36-hour labor. While they were at the hospital, they received a call from their adoption attorney to give them the good news. Their application to adopt had been accepted. "This is such a godsend," she recalled. The couple adopted Rowan in 2000. It's at this point that you might think that things would start to look up for the actress who had suffered so much already in her life. She finally had the family she had been dreaming about. Unfortunately, things were not going to get any easier. Just as she had been given the gift of motherhood and enjoying her time as a parent to her new son, Stone suffered a stroke. I had the kind of stroke where one minute you're standing behind the couch and the next minute you're flipped over the couch on the coffee table and everything is everywhere. She was standing behind a sofa in her home when she experienced what she describes as a lightning bolt to the head, so painfully shocking that it knocked her to the carpet. She had already been struck by lightning before, so she knew exactly the type of pain she was talking about. She's not sure how long she laid there on the floor unconscious and alone. When she woke up, she was confused and in an unimaginable amount of pain coming from her head. Her leg went numb and she couldn't speak properly. When she had tried to seek help from a neighbor, she was suggested to take an aspirin and sleep it off. In her confused state, Stone did not think to call 911. She didn't end up in the emergency department until 72 hours later. Doctors all said she was lucky to be alive after surviving such a deadly stroke and getting treatment so late, but she still had a long road of recovery to face.
I woke up finding out that this is what had happened, and then I had to learn to walk, hear, write, talk, remember, and everything all over again.
The actress suffered short and long-term memory loss. She could no longer walk or speak properly and lost the ability to hear in one ear. She was also battling constant fatigue and periodic seizures. To top it all, Sharon experienced serious problems with balance, strength, and endurance. Stone had difficulty reading and could no longer memorize lines from scripts, which immediately put out the fire of her successful career. She described her recovery process as a living hell. I lost 18% of my body mass in 9 days. I came out of the hospital looking like teeth on a stick. At that time, they didn't have any stroke recovery programs. Months later, I was really struggling. Along with the physical torture, there came an emotional blow. It was no sooner than she was out of the hospital that her husband filed for divorce. Stone explained that after her stroke, Phil wouldn't look at her or even talk to her. It was as if she didn't exist anymore, and she soon came to realize that his intentions behind their entire relationship was perhaps ill from the start. I was suckered. I'm embarrassed to say that. Sharon felt used, abandoned, and alone. She felt as though she was useless to the world that had only seen her as a sex symbol, and she wasn't sure where to turn to.
Because everything that I had been before, I thought, I'm not any of those things anymore.
She had also lost the custody battle over their adopted son, who was ordered to go and stay with her now ex-husband. I had to remortgage my house. I lost everything I had. But Stone was not going to let her circumstances beat her down. She refused to be chewed up and spat back out by Hollywood and those around her. She took control of her recovery and fought harder than she ever thought was possible. She went for physical therapy, taking on the seemingly impossible challenge of learning how to walk and talk again. Through very literal baby steps, the actress worked her way back onto her own feet until she was strong enough to walk on her own and finally run. She changed her lifestyle, stopped drinking, changed her diet, exercised daily, and began meditating. Sharon continued to read and practiced memorizing lines. Soon, she started to see the results of her hard work.
I love my career. I love my life. I love my family. I even love the people that burned me to the ground because they were my best teachers.
Stone also forced herself to attend industry events, which involved a lot of preparation on her part. She would have to label every outfit with instructions on how and when to wear it because she became confused so easily. Things didn't change immediately, and it wasn't a simple task for her to make her way back onto our screens. But soon, all her hard work began to take off.
Everything got better for me through this experience. It was like starting over. Every death is a rebirth.
She recently featured in the hit Netflix series Ratched, and we have no doubt we'll be seeing a lot more of her soon. It took me a very long time to get here. I've met so many people in situations worse than my own, and I've learned a lot. This experience has developed my character. As for her personal life, it seems that Stone doesn't need a man by her side in order for her to be a mother. Perhaps she lost her faith in men the day her husband walked out on her during the hardest time of her life. Or maybe it was her failed attempt at online dating, where she was bombarded by men who were nothing but insincere. I was just not that girl who was told that a man would define me. I was told that if I wanted to have a man in my life, it wouldn't be an arrangement. It would be an actual partnership, and those are hard to find. She went on to adopt 2 more children. Stone adopted Laird and Quinn Stone. Her first adopted boy, Rowan, filed court papers to add the surname Stone to his name. He has also chosen to have his mother as his primary caregiver rather than his father. She's a single mother with 3 sons, and she says that she couldn't be more privileged to raise them. When you adopt, you realize any child could be your child. Any person could be your relative. After that, you would never see the world in the same way again. I'm connected to everyone on this planet, and that's a miracle in and of itself.